You want to take out a magazine subscription because you love flower arranging, but which magazine will you go for, Flora or the Flower Arranger? These magazines are both spring editions from 2021. The Flora cost £4.75 and the Flower Arranger has a price of £4.60. Both magazines are available at good quality newsagents and by subscription, so you can get them delivered to you at home. Flora magazine is edited by Judith Blacklock. She used to actually edit the Flower Arranger magazine, and I'll leave a link to her YouTube channel up in the cards above. So join me as I flick through the pages of both magazines, and don't forget to let me know in the comments which article catches your eye. There's an interesting article here on the use of dried flowers, setting out the advantages and disadvantages. So that's a great read if you're interested in having dried flowers at home, or perhaps even using them for weddings. I rather like this project over the page called Hanging Around, and think it'd be a really great idea if you've got lots of little glass jars and vases to hang them up. And in fact, I've got a peg rail in my kitchen, so I might do this project at some future point in time. There's a great how-to project here using bark to support your delicate spring flowers, and then here's some glorious photographs from a wedding. And if you're interested in arranging flowers without using flower foam, check out this article here. It talks you through lots of different ways of using mechanics that will hold water, such as test tubes and little bottles. And with spring just around the corner, check out this article by Chrissy Harton, who's arranged spring flowers from her garden. And if you enjoy crafting and upcycling, check out this DIY for wrapping wool around glass jars. This is a fun project using colourful drinking straws, although I must admit I'm trying to steer away from using plastics. I rather like this textured sphere with grasses pinned all around it. And if you prefer your flowers with a more contemporary edge, check out these pieces here, really inspiring. I've recently been making a fabric surround for one of my glass bottles. It was something I did with the ladies in my free Facebook group, Flower Start World. So do head on over and check that out. I'll leave a link to it in the description box underneath the video. The Flower Arranger is the quarterly magazine of the National Association of Flower Arrangement Societies, which is commonly referred to as NAFAS. As this is the spring edition, you'll notice that eggs feature quite a lot in this edition. So many great ideas for incorporating them into your flower arrangements, including making your own Easter egg tree. And don't forget to check out this part of the magazine, which sets out the floral dates of your diary and lists the shows and events that are coming up during the year. Following on the trend for using less flower foam, this is another arrangement made in water. You'll have to start saving all sorts of tiny vases and arranging your stems in them and grouping them together for impact. There's a great feature here on Emily Thompson, who's a florist based in New York City. And more eggshells here, this time with amazing anemones. And there's a couple more DIYs here to keep you busy. I love this topiary style of arranging narcissi. And don't forget your pot plants. Let's say hurrah for houseplants. There's such an amazing variety of colours and textures, and quite often I use these as greenery in my arrangements. This DIY shows you how you can use the flexible pussy willow twigs to support your tulips. And while we're trying to use less flower foam, have you heard of Agrawall? This is such an interesting article and takes you through the pros and cons of using this new product. I was particularly interested in this quote by Shane Connolly that reminds us that flower foam, even if it is the biodegradable make, still is a plastic. And although it degrades faster than normal flower foam, you still get left with the microplastics, which of course isn't very good for the environment. It's really making me think, should I stick with the regular flower foam, go with the biodegradable, or just try and rule out flower foam altogether and use more old-fashioned but perhaps more natural ways of arranging flowers? I'd love to know your views on this, so do let me know in the comments below whether you are moving across to using less flower foam in your designs, or whether you are embracing the biodegradable varieties, or perhaps even the new products like this Agrawall. If you're a demonstrator, teacher or church flower arranger, you'll find this advice here really interesting, so do take a look. And over here is a review of a guide to floral mechanics written by Sarah Diligent and William Mazuch. I hope I've said that right. And again, if you're interested in the whole subject of arranging in a more environmentally friendly way, I reckon that book would be a great starting point. Just look at this splash of yellows. They just look absolutely amazing. And if you prefer succulents, there's an item there for you too. And talking about going back to the old ways, there's an interesting article here by Kathy Stangard all about Jean Taylor. And in fact, I've got a couple of her books. You'll have to let me know whether you collect old flower arranging books too. Can you spot the winner? I love this bit right at the end of the magazine. It lets you decide who you think should have won the competition, and then you can compare your notes to the actual judge's winner. I hope you've enjoyed flicking through both these magazines with me. You'll have to let me know in the comments whether you subscribe to either of them, or if you subscribe to both, which one do you prefer, Flora or the Flower Arranger?